Snow is...
And my belt. I guess they don't need any more toys.
Call and apply today.
Call 1-800-828-9703 now. That's 1-800-828-9703.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
These are scenes out of Westchester County, New York, north of New York City, where it is snowing and sleeting. And we continue to see this to be an example of what is going on across areas of southern New England today, although some areas are seeing heavier snow. For instance, north of Westchester County, up toward Albany, it is snowing heavily. Temperatures are well below zero, and today is just the beginning of the storm. Yesterday's Midwestern storm has now pushed eastward. Still a little bit of snow, sleet, and freezing rain out across the Midwest, but the primary impact areas today are from D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. We'll take a look at this storm developing heading off to the northeast. Now, as we look at our satellite photograph, actually we just find clouds all over the eastern United States, and by no means is this one a classic nor'easter setup. Usually we get into these a little bit later in the January, February, March. What we find today is an area of high pressure which is bringing moisture in from the Atlantic Ocean, and that is allowing, over this dome of high pressure, we are seeing the cold air, and then with that moisture running into it, snow, sleet, freezing rain out there. So a combination of a lot of different weather events coming on in. Here's the setup today. You see white in New York and across southern New England. That represents snow. It is snowing heavily in Albany. Down toward New York City, a mixture of some snow, sleet, a bit of freezing rain, and farther to the south around Philadelphia and Harrisburg, sleet and freezing rain. Baltimore, D.C., you're just about ready to get out of this mixed bag of precip as the warmer air slowly comes in the rest of this afternoon and certainly into tonight. Winter weather advisories continue for the big cities from D.C. all the way up to Boston, although winter storm warnings are in effect. Areas like Albany, where 6 to 12 inches of snow is expected. South of Albany and north of New York City, that is where Mike Seidel is located in Westchester County. Mike, you're not quite seeing the heavy snow today. You will see snow as you're seeing now, but a bigger problem is likely to come in by later tonight. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Rich, you were mentioning classic nor'easters. Well, in a classic nor'easter, we talk about snow or rain. But freezing rain usually doesn't come into play because the cloud temperatures generally are below freezing. Well, that's not the case tonight. Things will be warming up in the clouds first. Unfortunately, we have all this cold air at the surface. So as a result, freezing rain is in the forecast, and it could be a good deal of ice accumulating here in the interior across Rockland, Westchester counties, away from the coast, and certainly north and west of the city. We're out here north of the city, out at the Tappan Zee on the Hudson River. We're on the Westchester County side, and the rush hour getting a bit of an early start, and there goes the Weather Channel viewer for sure, blowing his horn. Traffic is slowing down now. The speed limit posted at 35, but these cars are hitting their brakes as they get onto the span as they cross from Westchester and the Rockland counties. And likewise, you'll be doing that across the entire tri-state area for the rush hour this evening. Now, we do have some better weather ahead for tomorrow. Temperatures will finally climb to about freezing or above, but that's going to be probably 7, 8 o'clock in the morning around sunrise in the city and out on the island. But back here away from the coast again, it's going to take a while longer to get those temperatures up above freezing. So we'll have a prolonged period, a longer period of ice or freezing rain, which as we've seen last year and several times this year, remember the freezing rain around Christmas in the Carolinas and Virginia, it sticks on the power lines, it sticks on the trees, and you end up with power outages. A lot of times the tree limbs come down and they snap and come down over the power lines, or the power lines just under the weight of the ice come down. So power outages could be in the cards tomorrow, but by afternoon we should get most of this whole area above freezing, and the weekend looks milder, in fact cracking 50 on Sunday. One other concern tomorrow, as this coastal comes up the east coast, we're going to have some rain. Some of that rain could be heavy at times in the city, and the combination of rain and melting snow could lead to some localized flooding. We'll have more on that as we go on through this evening. Rich, we'll keep you updated, of course.
All right, Mike, thanks so much for that report. Try to stay dry and also stay away from that traffic. It's a little bit mean out there.
Okay.
All right, we'll be checking back with Mike for the rest of today. It is a cold day out across New England. That is setting the foundation for this snow and ice storm. Again, as mentioned, north of Mike in Albany, -6, and the snow is coming down heavily at times. That's all due to that Arctic air pouring in from Quebec. And actually, Maine set a state record for cold weather, -55 degrees below zero in the northern part of the state, just to the west of Caribou. Here's the latest radar out there and what we have going on. Mostly snow in New York State and also across areas of southern New England, although down toward the coast of southern New England, we are now switching over to a little bit of sleet and snow combined. So down toward the coastal areas, that's where the travel may be even a little bit more treacherous. Out toward Boston, precipitation coming in from the west in the form of the storm moving on in. But also what is a little bit more difficult to see is that the winds are blowing from the northeast, and what is going on is that we're seeing ocean effect snow squalls. In fact, into Plymouth County, into Abington, about 8.5 inches of snow last check. And yeah, that means we're getting the 1-2 effect here. Some of the ocean effect with winds blowing off the ocean, adding the moisture, and now we're getting the overrunning with the moisture overrunning that dome of cold air producing snow also out across areas of southern New England. Down to New York City, it's tapering down just a little bit, but what is likely to happen is that you'll see that mixture of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Likewise over to Philadelphia, change eventually over to rain. Now, it may take a long time for that.